What is going on YouTube? Alex here with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about how you can pass the FAA knowledge test. It doesn't matter whether it's for a pilot or you're trying to get your mechanic certificate. I'm just going to walk you through what I do to study for any of the knowledge tests. Here's a little background story. Once I traveled from Spain to the United States, shortly after I arrived, maybe 3 months or so, I started my flight training, and obviously that entitled to start studying for your knowledge test. And I use different softwares. I used Sporty's course. I think I used a couple other, but unfortunately, I actually failed my private pilot knowledge test 2 times. Okay, and I remember the second time I failed it. Man, I was devastated. I mean, this is my dream. I mean, I wanted to become. Well, I still want to, not I wanted, but I still want to become an airline pilot. And, you know, obviously when you go into the interviews with the airlines, well, they don't want to see failures and stuff like that. But usually a knowledge test is not as bad as if you fail a check right. I said to myself, man, I cannot fail another FAA knowledge test ever again, which I actually did on my instrument until I came up with a system that worked for me. That is the reason why I'm creating this video. It might not work for you, it worked for me, and I just want to share it. Maybe some of you can implement it and have success with it. Before we get into things, I just want to take a second and congratulate one of our subscribers, Joel Faya, for soloing on his 16th birthday. That is a great achievement. I wish that when I was 16, I was flying. I mean, shoot. I can't imagine where I would be right now in terms of hours and all that. But anyways, all right, let's get right into it. All right, so like I said, I tried different softwares and stuff like that, different study guides, and none of them worked for me until I found Gleim. And I found that Gleim, especially the online ground school for whatever. I mean, I've done my private pilot, instrument, commercial, CFI, airframe, power plant, general, all of them with Gleim. And it has never failed me, okay? And that's what I'm gonna base this video on, is how to study with Gleim. And what I'm gonna be focusing on today is the online ground schools that they have. So let's get right into Gleim's website. All right, so here we are in the Gleim website, and this is gleimaviation.com. They actually have all their courses for other industries, so just make sure that you go to the gleimaviation.com. So if you're a pilot, you know, if you're trying to, get your pilot certificate, well, here's the different ratings and certificates that they have courses for. And then also, if you're trying to go for your aircraft mechanics certificates, well, there you go. That's all your courses. So for the sake of this example, I'm going to use the private pilot. Let's say I'm trying to pass my private pilot knowledge test. This is pretty cool. They actually give you a little bit of an overview of how to become a certified pilot. And they're going to try to obviously upsell you with different products and stuff like that. I would just not even worry about none of that stuff and just go with this program. So this is the online ground school for private pilot. It's $109. I'm telling you, for me, is the best investment that you can make in order for you to pass the knowledge test. Obviously, if you're a mechanic, you would go to aviation maintenance technician. And again, they give you a little bit of the basics. And you want to obviously buy, I think they actually have a bundle where you can buy all general airframe and power plant. If not, you would just have to, oh, there it is, AMT test prep software download set. So that would pretty much cover all of them. Let's go to my account so I can show you how I study. I already logged in, and we're going to go to the free demos. Let's see what we got here. Aviation courses. And view available demos. We're going to go with a private pilot. And all right, as you guys can see, well, I did my private pilot, commercial, instrument, flight instructor, fundamentals of instructing, and obviously this does not include my aircraft mechanic stuff that I did, because it's a little bit different how the online ground school works for mechanics and pilots. And I'm going to actually cover all that later on. So let's get right into private pilot. And this technique that I'm going to show you, you can actually use it with any one of them. So whatever you go with, even if you're trying to get your ATP or whatever the case may be, you can use this technique. So let's get right into it. So here it is, and what Gleim does, which I kind of like, is they divide everything you need to know in 11 chapters. The beauty of it is that you can actually study one per day, okay? And that means that in about 11 days, you would be done with the whole course. Now, that being said, some of them, like, for example, the Federal Aviation Regulations, I believe, navigation, those take a long time, so sometimes you might have to split them in two depending on how much time you have available. I just want to mention something. Again, this might not be for everyone, so make sure that before you purchase, you're okay with what I'm about to say. How the process works is they give you a quiz. After the quiz, they give you a another quiz with the questions that you missed, and then they give you a test, okay? If you fail the test once, they will allow you to take the test one more time. If you fail the second time, well, you're going to have to write an email to Gleim explaining why you failed. Now, I love that because it keeps me on edge, okay? So pretty much, I'm like, man, I don't want to write an email. I don't want my account to be blocked. Let me just study the crap out of this so that doesn't happen. It actually never has happened to me, okay? So I'm pretty sure if it doesn't happen to me, I don't think it would happen to you. The reason why they do this is because at the end of the course, they're actually going to give you an endorsement that you can present when you go take your test. If not, you would have to get an instructor to give you an endorsement to be able to take the knowledge test. Now with aircraft mechanics, that works a little bit different. If you're going to a Part 147 AMT school, you're actually going to have to present these certificates of completion of the course that you take before you can take the knowledge test for that. All right, so let's get right into how I do this. All right, so first thing I do is, let's say we were studying for the airplane and aeronautics section. So first thing I would do is view and listen to the audiovisual presentation, and that is under A/V. So it is super old school. I mean, it's nothing fancy, but it gives you all the information that you need in order to pass your test and your quiz within obviously Gleim, right? So what I would just do is, like, for example, right now this is talking about, the different principles of aerodynamics. So I would just start taking notes, okay? Because again, everything that they talk about in this audiovisual presentation is pertaining to what you're going to be asked in your test and in your quiz. There's nothing extra. Everything you need to know is right here. It can get a little bit boring, but the good news is that they're usually only about 6 to 12 minutes. Once I've taken all my notes, what I do is I read my notes, and then I'm gonna be honest, they have the possibility of downloading an outline, and let's do the PDF. And in this outline, you can actually print it out, or you can just read it through your computer screen or your phone, whatever you choose to do, and then highlight the most important parts. You can do that, but to be honest, I didn't even do none of that stuff. Okay, and the reason why I didn't do it is because I just don't like reading. I just like listening. But I'm pretty sure if you end up doing this, you would get a better understanding of what the answers to the questions are. Now, the key here is a lot of people just tell you, memorize the answers. But I don't think that's the best way to study for these tests. The reason why I say that is because I noticed when I was doing all my testing that a lot of the questions that were in the actual test were not the same questions. They were just simply similar to the questions that this program gave me. And I'll tell you though, the only one that I found that the questions are really similar is the aircraft mechanic knowledge test. Those are usually pretty similar. Now that being said, I mean, don't think that you should memorize the answers for your aircraft mechanic knowledge test training that you do. So I will do exactly that for every single unit. And then I have about 5 practice tests that they allow me to do. So I would only go take the test if I was at least making a 90 or above. If you're making lower than 90, just don't go. Wait till you get the 90s and then go. The reason why I'm saying that is, again, because the questions that you're gonna get in the actual test are not going to be the same. So if you're getting 90s in this, I can almost guarantee you that there's no way you're gonna fail, okay? And that was my mistake. Initially, I remember with the sporties, I think I was making 80, 82. I was like, man, I got this. You know, this ain't hard. Let me go take the test. Boom, 69. That's what my score was. And you need a 70. No, actually, I think it was lower. No, the first time was like maybe 62. And then the second time it was 69. And then eventually I passed with like a high 80. Yeah, I kind of feel bad about it, but you know, it's already done. I just wish someone showed me this way. You know, this is what worked for me, and I think it could work for you. Also, another benefit of using Gleim is, well, it's not only Gleim. I mean, I know other companies. I think M0A. I think you get some FAA wings. If you don't know that, I mean, it's just a program that the FAA has, and it actually helps you. If you complete a certain amount of stages, I know you can skip the flight review that is due every 24 calendar months. I was actually trying to get in here into the aircraft mechanic demos, and for some reason it's just not letting me get into it. But for whatever reason, I thought that the aircraft mechanic online course did not have the audio visual presentation, and that's actually what I was going to talk about. But I just realized it does, like all the aircraft mechanic program also has the audio visual presentation, and for me that was super valuable. So that's what I was going to talk about, but we're just gonna it's exact. So if you're going for your aircraft mechanic, if you're trying to study for your aircraft mechanic knowledge test, is going to be exactly the same way as I explained for the pilot. And now here's where I remember that it doesn't have an audio visual presentation, and that is if you're studying for your FOIs, for your flight instructor certificate. That one is the one that does not have the audio visual presentation, and that kind of sucked. And it's been a while, it's been a couple years, so that's why I couldn't remember all this stuff. I apologize about that. But with the FOI, I actually had to take the course like 2 times or something like that, because I was not hitting the 90s that I'm talking about. So definitely for the FOI, you're actually gonna have to read the outlines. I hate reading, but that's that. Now, yeah, so that's pretty much it. And that's exactly what worked for me. You know, if you guys have any recommendations, if you guys have different ways that you guys study for your knowledge test, feel free to comment below. Like I always say, I try to read all my comments and reply to all of them. And yeah, if you like the video and you think it could help you pass your knowledge test, please drop a like. And that's it. So I will see you guys in the next video.